All right, guys, the kids are napping, and I've been going stir crazy because the people I'm here with don't love rambling about games like I do. So I figured I would sneak away during nap time and talk about games a little bit because there's always something new afoot. And this is how I relax, believe it or not. Isn't it amazing? I get to do this for a living, and this is how I relax. So here we are. Shout out to Jacob for helping me cut this together while I'm in a hotel room with bad internet. I'm going to upload this to him. He'll put some B-roll and stuff on screen so you're not just staring at my ugly mug the whole time. But I'm out here literally touching grass because I just filmed a video rambling about High Guard, and here I am. So let's talk about it. What am I rambling about today? Shocker, Ubisoft. In case you missed it, there's a story that just dropped where Yves Guillemot, the CEO of Ubisoft, is expected to come and do a tour of their Paris studio and offices. He works in Paris, that's where their HQ is. They just laid off or announced they're laying off about 200 people in the HQ, and this is something they're doing before they lay off another probably 1,000 people across the globe. So Ubisoft employees are not a big fan of Yves right now. A lot of the corporate offices as well, a lot of those employees have like stock option packages and stuff for compensation. So they also have seen their life savings, their retirement accounts plummet in value in the last 5 years as the stock price has plummeted as well. So they're not thrilled about Yves at all. But what's interesting is that Yves is going into the offices, and the employees are actually organizing right now. You can't make this up. They're organizing a walkout strike the moment he steps foot on the premises. The moment he walks in the building, they will get up from their desks, go down to the lobby, and leave the building. It's beautiful. I mean, here's where I'm at. Okay, when your employees hate you so much that they leave the building the moment you step foot into it, you can't really earn their trust, you know? And I'm a firm believer that happy work is better work. I tell my team this all the time. I'm like, I'm a firm believer in the saying, you know, one willing hand is worth two unwilling. I think if you are passionate about your work and you believe in the team you're working for, you will work your ever-loving ass off to make the vision a reality, and you'll be a real asset to the team. But when you hate your boss, when you hate the company you work for, that's not how it works. Okay, like you are going to be miserable day in, day out. You are not going to be putting in that extra energy. You're not going to be putting your best ideas forward, because even in the back of your head, you're still wondering, well, if this doesn't go well, I mean, I'll be fine. But you know, if this goes really well, then it's just going to be more money in Yves' pocket. So why would I bother? And I think that that's what's permeating through all 17,000 employees' minds right now within Ubisoft. I think they're all starting to look for other jobs, with some very, very rare exceptions. I think they're all just freaking fed up with it. There's a lot of not just disdain for the corporate leadership, but also disgust. And then I think also there's a huge lack of respect for a lot of the people that are in charge. And for good reason. I mean, for basically a decade, they've mismanaged everything, every step of the way. And now they are trying to fix it by trimming the herd. Yeah, it's no way to run a business, frankly. It's no way to run a healthy business, at least. The analogy I used in a recent main channel video was, it's like, you know, they have a ship that is Ubisoft, the company, and they have a bunch of people that they've brought onto the ship. And now that they realize they overloaded it with 17,000 employees, they're frantically trying to keep the boat from sinking and capsizing. So they're just shoving people off of the deck, and they're just saying, "I'm so sorry," as they shove people off. "Sorry, we shouldn't have let all of you on," as they drop kick people off the side of the ship. And they're like, "Yeah, we're trying to save it. This is how you save it. It's our bad that we're in this position to begin with, but I mean, what are we supposed to do? Not try to save the ship now?" So it's just a cluster across the board. But what I've just been amazed by is, even after all of this, the gall, the gumption for a CEO in a situation like that to not step down, to not resign. That's amazing, man. It shows the stranglehold that the Guillemot family has on the board of directors. Because any other company, if you had it so the entire office buildings of people leave the moment you step into the lobby, you would think that that would be a big enough wake-up call that, how is this guy supposed to lead? You know, how is this guy supposed to lead our army into battle? How is he supposed to dig us out of this pit when our employees don't just like lack respect for him, they hate him. They hate what he's done to the company. And the other piece of this is that, like, a lot of these employees, they love what they do. They love the franchises they work on. A lot of the people working on Assassin's Creed are working on Assassin's Creed because they played these games 20 years ago and want to make great versions of them. I guess 18 years ago, but you get what I mean. They want to make those games phenomenally well. They want them to see a resurgence. They want to make the next AC2 that's everybody's fan favorite. They want that, but they're not able to with the direction of the company because some decisions that are made are just above their pay grade and they don't get to decide how things go, right? And so they're just frustrated and they're pissed. And then you factor in everything else. There's other stuff like the return to office mandates, where Ubisoft for years has been hiring people with the promise that you get to work from home 2 or 3 days out of the week. You only have to come into the office 2 days a week. So they've started families and they have, their daycare stuff figured out and budgeted out specifically for that and based on that promise. But now they're going back on it because they need more efficient workforces. And so they got to get people in the office and they're like, yeah, no, sucks to suck. And if they quit, it's one less person we have to pay severance. Great. So I don't blame the employees at all for being livid about all of this. I would be too if I was working there. For years and years and years, I and many other people have been saying that they need new leadership. I think the Guillemot family has demonstrated for a decade that they just don't have it. Like, they don't see what gamers want. They apparently are not able to deliver on it. Maybe now with Tencent being involved, they can come in and just slap them upside the head and actually get them to do what they need to do. But time will tell. Even then, like, the omnipresent thing, and this is what I mentioned in the recent main channel video, Tencent signed a deal back in 2022. It was, I believe, September of 2022. They signed a deal to expand their ownership in the Guillemot family trust. Basically, there's a Guillemot family holdings company that owns the shares in Ubisoft that the Guillemot family owns. So Tencent bought 49.9% of it, and the Guillemot family owns 50.1%. And so Tencent overall owns about 10 to 11% of Ubisoft, the corporation, and then they own a quarter of the Vantage Studio holding group, which is what owns the rights to like Assassin's Creed, Far Cry, and Rainbow Six. But when they signed that deal back in September of 2022, do you know what they did? Ubisoft had them looking at their books, and Tencent, I'm sure, was salivating. They're like, bro, we're sitting on a gold mine. This company could be worth so much more money if we were in charge of it. If we were running it, we could skyrocket this company in value, which is true. Just Assassin's Creed and Far Cry are expected to be worth like somewhere between $4 and $7 billion by themselves. So in the right hands, the whole portfolio should be worth 10 billion, maybe more. But Ubisoft as a corporation right now is worth like 650 million as of today. So Tencent, I'm sure, is looking at it being like, hey, if we bought them out, we could do some crazy work, right? Like, we could make some stuff happen. So what did Ubisoft do? Ubisoft had them sign in September of 2022 a deal that limited their ownership of Ubisoft, the corporation, to 10% for 8 years. And in 2022, I'm sure they were like, plenty of time. We're going to turn this around. Tencent's going to be they're going to want to be our partners and our strategic long-term partners. And so they'll just invest money, but they won't want to buy us out anymore because we'll be doing so good. Our stock price will be super high and it won't be that good of a deal anymore. But where are we in 2026 now? The stock price has cratered even further. In the last 5 years, they're down over 95%. And I'm sure Tencent's not too thrilled about that because they own a lot of shares of Ubisoft stock as well. And so what does this mean? It means that if Ubisoft doesn't turn this around by September of 2030, Tencent can just swoop in, buy them out, and there's nothing you can do about it. And if you think that the layoffs right now at Ubisoft are bad, just wait. Just wait. Tencent will swoop in. They will gut everything and everybody, and they will take the IP. They'll make 15 mobile games out of it. I mean, they're going to extract value, as the corporate bigwigs say. So Ubisoft is on a time crunch. They really, really are. Like, they have a clock ticking, and they've got to get this figured out, because if they don't fix it in time, the whole Guillemot family is screwed. They're just done. Game over, Red Rover. Hostile takeover to the stars. I mean, they will totally dominate and take everything over. So I think Ubisoft is in hustle mode, and I think that's why you're seeing them act very erratically and with very sharp, sudden moves right now. They're not doing we're restructuring over the next 5 years, slowly and methodically, which is what like Microsoft does or Amazon does. No, they're going scorched earth, crazy, aggressive with everything they're doing. And it's because they're running out of time. And I think the Guillemot family realizes that if they run out of time and September 2030 comes around, Tencent buys them out, the Guillemot family is not exactly a super valuable piece of the puzzle right now. And that they are going to be the first to go, which would be humiliating on the part of like Yves. I'm sure for him it would be humiliating, because to be kicked out of your own company and being bought out, like, that's just cringe. But he's already suffered a lot. You know, he used to be a billionaire. The whole Guillemot family, the upper echelons of the brothers, they used to all be billionaires. Now the brother who founded Gameloft, he's still a billionaire, I believe, but Yves is not. And it's because Ubisoft stock cratered so much that he's not worth it anymore. And in a previous video, I said that it was after what happened on Wednesday, he's no longer a billionaire, but it actually technically was about a year and a half ago. It dropped below the threshold for him to be a billionaire. So there you go. So, you know, woe is him. He's only worth 100 million or 200 million now, but I'm sure he doesn't want to retire having lost that much of his net worth. He'd like to see it recover and still be in charge, but I think they're running out of time. Realistically, where do I think this is going? I think that Ubisoft might be able to recover a little bit of stock price. Like, they might be able to dig themselves out of this a little bit if the quality actually does skyrocket, which is what they're claiming is going to happen. They're claiming that when they come back out with the Black Flag remake, with Hexe, with everything else, that it's going to wow people. And if they can actually do that, and they actually are dropping games on the level of like some of these PlayStation exclusives, for example, which is what seems to be the standard that they're looking to, then yeah, if you're able to put out God of War level games consistently every year, you'll be worth a lot of money. Whether or not Ubisoft can do that remains to be seen. Personally, I will believe it when I see it. I just think, like, if the management has mismanaged it for a decade, but on year 10 they tell you, actually, now we're going to figure it out, I'll believe it when I see it. You know, like, your past performance would indicate maybe that you're just not able to run the company properly. But, you know, maybe you'll surprise me. Maybe you'll wow me. I don't know. I don't think so, but maybe. So time will tell. But that's what's going on right now. Ubisoft is walking out whenever the CEO walks in the building, which is not a great sign for confidence in leadership. And they are frantically trying to dig themselves out of a pit that they've found themselves in, and they only have a few years to do it. And what's crazy is that most of their games are taking 4 to 5+ years to put together, which means they've already kind of got their lineup for what's going to make or break them. It's not like they can greenlight today GTA 7 and all of a sudden find themselves with a tremendous success on their hands. Like, they're already in too deep, and they don't have time to start something from scratch to save it. They've got to make what they have on the docket today work. And that's what they're banking on, and they're delaying everything and taking their time to try and fix it. And they're going to lay off a lot more people in the next few weeks to try and right the ship that they've set up the way that they have, and we'll see how it works out. I feel for the people over at Ubisoft. I mean, it sucks. There's a lot of amazingly talented people over there that are just in shackles by the terrible leadership and executive team. Who knows? Maybe this will be their push to get another job. Maybe they end up digging themselves out of it and they end up making a 10 out of 10 Assassin's Creed game. Can you imagine? It's technically possible. They did it with AC2. Never say never. It's a long shot, but weirder things have happened. But thank you for watching. Thanks for hanging out with me while I sit on a field and ramble about games, because nobody else here wants to hear my rambling. They're like, Luke, can you go talk to yourself, please? There's a helicopter going over top. It's beautiful. Anyway, thank you for watching. Thanks for hanging out with me. Much love. I'll be back for next week, and we should have a lot of interesting stuff about Crimson Desert to share relatively soon. So buckle up for that. Much love. Like the video, subscribe, blah, blah, blah. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye. He took my thing.